Bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Manchester United slump to defeat, in London against Tottenham. Harry Kane-less Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A little bit better in the first half. Complete capitulation in the second half. United didn't take their chances. Effectively toothless up front. Once again, cut through too easily in the midfield. And a little bit of unluck, but really just not a good enough performance from Manchester United in the second game week of the season. And United is sliding once again at the beginning of the year, at least in the EPL season, under this manager. So a lot to fix quickly, sir. We got a lot of open holes in terms of positions and figuring out how do we make Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, and Casemiro work. Hey, if it worked with Eriksen, it should work with Mount. He's got even more of an engine. And then eventually we got to get a number 9 up front, push Rashi out wide. But either way, United needs to right the ship quickly. We went with the same 11 from last week. I think that was to kind of challenge the boys after such a poor performance to do better. It could be stubbornness. But either way, there's a lot of things going wrong at Manchester United at the moment. The sentiment around the club is very, very negative. A lot of that outside the control of the players and the manager with all the Mason Greenwood news, which we'll talk about in a minute. Glazers seemingly not leaving, which we'll talk about in a minute, as well as transfers, all these players we needed to sell that we thought we were selling that we're not selling. Magoo sticking around, having dished by, never dished Dino. Can't dish Donnie. It's like same shit, different summer. Welcome back to Manchester United. You got Paye brothers sweating around Catalonia, and here we are, August 20th, and Manchester United have a lot of holes to fill. We need a lot of players in still, and I don't think we're getting any reinforcements other than a player from our academy who very few people want back. But how we feeling? How we doing, sir?
I didn't have Donnie Van de Beek on my podcast intro bingo card after losing to Spurs 2-0.
Ship him.
You somehow slipped them in there. Look, we got our special remote podcast. Both Alex and myself on vacation. I'm podcasting from the hills of Malibu. Hurricane Hillary, Tropical Storm Hillary, bearing down on me. But the pod never sleeps. How are you doing in New Jersey, sir? You get some pizza, some Italian subs, any salty New Jersey experiences?
This guy, I love it. The Malibu Hills. It's hard to beat the Malibu Hills when I'm in the flats of New Jersey. You know, I hope you're enjoying yourself with the fam, sir. I am back east, seeing all the family, getting together. Lots of good Italian, lots of good beach time, lots of good fam time, organized chaos with the kids, salty experiences, you know, walking into family-owned Italian delis with the kids, getting a lot of glares.
How many wife beaters? How many wife beaters you seen today?
I haven't spotted one yet, sir. I'm in a different part of the shore. I'm a different part of Jersey Shore. My brother from Florida, he might show up. He might show up with a wife beater later today, but I have not seen one in the flesh. I've seen other fun things, but it's good to be here. Appreciate all the fans working with us. We know the audio quality is a little bit different on these remote pods, but the pod never sleeps. John's on vacay. I'm on vacay. It's the end of August. That's when we go on vacay. And to tell you what, sir, Manchester United, that squad looked like they were on vacay. We did this last year. We're doing it again this year. I just hope Erik ten Hag can right the ship quickly because this team, we need to figure out, and we need to figure out fast because we got Nottingham Forest next weekend, and then we got Big Bad Gunners down in London, and that is going to be a tough match. And we need number 9. Where's Hoyland at? A lot going wrong at Manchester United at the moment, so a lot of areas concerned. So I hope you're enjoying yourself in Southern California. You look nice and relaxed. Looks like the sun's coming up. Beautiful morning. How we feeling?
So I'll tell you, I set my alarm at 5:45 a.m. for this podcast. That's all you need to know. Somebody get me Wout Weghorst. I think we should never have gotten rid of him. Especially, you know, since he was watching Anthony ball out last season, so he got the frosted tips. I'm sure he's unstoppable wherever he got loaned out to in the middle of nowhere. Look, this game, brutal. Absolutely brutal. I was watching in the car on the way down, on the drive down yesterday. It just kills you. I mean, as a United fan, look, you can lose a game. You can lose away. But the lack of fight in the second half, like where's the leadership? You know, where are these like players that we need on the pitch? I mean, like Onana has it. I mean, like what a player. You know, you could see instant impact, great deal, great valuation for the keeper, but whatever the manager's got going on with Mount and Bruno in the midfield ain't working. His adjustments aren't working. 2 matches back to back. I mean, I know the Dutch are stubborn, but like not changing it after the first game. I knew today Rashford can't play 9. Like, it's over. It's like you tried it. It kind of worked last year in certain spots when he was really hot. He doesn't have it. He wants to play on the left. He talked to Gary Neville. He said, I don't want to play striker. I want to play on the left. That's where I'm most comfortable. You can't play your best players out of position. He even had Bruno out on the right in the second half and Mount at number 10. Our captain, our best player on our team, he's playing out of position for Mason Mount in the hole. It makes no sense. The manager is kind of making a little bit of a mare of it. He's a young manager. It looks like we're having trouble starting seasons with him. It's not a surprise. This might be a tough habit to kill. But he's got to get it right. And he probably will get it right because I do remember he got a little stubborn with his 11. And as soon as he made the adjustments last season, we saw the results. So I have confidence in Ten Hag to make the adjustments so that we can turn it around. But right now we just got to stop the bleeding. We're playing shit football. This is shit football 101. Shit overpriced prima donna football with no fight, dude. And I got no time for that, honestly, as a United fan. I got absolutely no time to watch overpaid prima donna and shit football. And that's the one rule. This guy better work this team like dogs this week. And he should have done it last week. And they should have came out like, and guess what? If you don't play like that, you're not playing. And that's my point, is that the 60th minute Tottenham score, and it's like, we got nothing. And you look at who's on that pitch, and I'm like, God damn it. It's like, I got vibes, sir. We've seen this movie before, unfortunately. All this money spent, players can't show up. It's like, what are you going to do? It's like, this manager's got to figure it out. He's got to get back to running them. He's got to get back to that Eric Ten Hag, like, elite mentality that we saw last season. And it's that take no prisoners, like, got to do better. And all I'm seeing right now is like a bad team playing shit football and the manager trying to say that we're playing well. And that's not Ten Hag. Ten Hag says it like it is. That's what we saw last year. And so he's got to get back to basics. Once he does, makes the adjustments, we'll be back. But damn, it's been a rough start.
It's been a rough start. I'm going to try and be positive, but it's hard to be positive. It's only 2 games in. I agree. It feels worse than it is. 3 points, 2 games. We were 0 points in at the last game. I'm just trying to be. Hold on, give me a chance. Give this guy a chance. And even in this game, we came out better than we did against Wolves. Bruno should have buried his chance. We should have gotten a penalty with that handball. I've never seen anything like that. If it was the opposite way, it would have been a penalty against United all day long. Maybe they're trying to. This is what happens in the EPL. They literally they make a bad call one game or a borderline call one game. It's talked about in the press all fucking week because it's Manchester United, and then they make up for it a game week later with an even more obvious error in that handball, which was egregious. That's not the point. United didn't take their chances that we had even in the first half.
Keep going.
And then
Excuses.
the second half, we never showed up at all, bro. Second half, we never showed up at all. But at the same time, their first goal was a deflected ball that hit back post, and the guy just popped it in. Second goal was own goal. They were better than us. I'm just trying to say that the manager needs to figure it out. These players need to show up. We need to get this midfield clicking, and we need to get Marcus Rashford out left because, like you said, it worked when he was hot to trot as number 9 because he could score goals and he was in the mood. We need to get him back in the mood, and the best way to get him back in the mood is put him out left. But the problem is, you don't have a number 9. Martial came on, and you're like, holy shit, this guy needs to get out of Manchester United ASAP. You can just tell he's always hurt, and he doesn't want to get hurt again, so he's not really going for 50-50 balls. He doesn't have that kind of explosive power speed he used to have. And
but it's not Martial's
place.
fault. It's like if he could play, if Rashford was next to him in his best position. The whole idea is do you want to get the best out of your best player? Or look, it's been a rough go. The manager, like I said, we saw this last year.
He's stubborn.
He was stubborn. He's going to be stubborn with Anthony. He's going to be stubborn with Mount. We saw him get stubborn with Wout. He actually never stopped getting stubborn with Wout. He brought him on when we were down 1-0 in the FA Cup final. That perplexed me again. But to your point that you're saying, we had opportunities. We got hard done by the refs. I totally agree. But the problem with this game is when we went down 1-0 in the second. The problem with this game is that the manager couldn't make the adjustment. His subs have been not helping us win. Last season, his subs were great.
Yep.
he has not been able to make the adjustment. He has not been able to pick the right 11, and the players have not shown resilience on the pitch. And that's the number one red flag that I'm worried about, is that it's okay to get scored on, get hard done by the rest, but what's the reaction? We used to see the reaction. It's like we would let teams score on us, and then we would react. This team doesn't have that reaction, so we have capitulation, and that is a red flag. That's just the one concerning thing. You can get rid of it, but when we talked coming into the season, I was really concerned. This is an incomplete roster. We don't have a director of football. There's nobody who knows what they're doing at the club. Clearly, with all the news that came out this week, it's just like an absolute S show. And it's really hard for the team, like the manager, playing with an incomplete 11. That's really where we're at. And everything else is just covering up for that, because we don't have a striker at Manchester United. Who would have thought we would need one? And anyone who thinks we can play without one is absolutely like out of their mind. And that's how bad it is at this club right now. And it's basically an explanation for everything else that's going on. So you got to give the manager, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But at the end of the day, like, the basics of what Manchester United football is if you're down 3, you never give up. If you're down 4, you're never giving up. You're fighting for every blade of grass on that field, and we do not see it with these players. And that is something that we haven't seen for a long time. And until you see that at Manchester United, we will not be back, and we will not be winning. Because if we're going to moan and whinge and get yellow cards for moaning and whinging, we ain't going to beat Tottenham away. And if you ain't going to beat Tottenham away, tell me what you're going to win. And then how far away are we from that? And that's the scariest part to me, is like the intangibles of what happened on that pitch yesterday. We can cover them up. We can make the adjustments. But it's the same thing of why we got beat 7-1 at Liverpool. These are the things that are still around this team. This is the open heart surgery Rangnick reference, and that's what scares me the most. But, it's a long season, and the manager has to get hard on them again, because you can't give these players an inch.
100%. 100%, sir. I can't disagree. It's mentality. It's all about mentality. The top managers speak about it often. And the thing that was so damning yesterday was sitting with my brother, the one who's a United fan. We're watching the game, 60th minute. We could see the second goal. You had no belief that the team would fight back. Even seasons past, when we were under Ole, we had first year under Cavani, we had a bunch of really good comebacks. Ronaldo's first year, we had a bunch of good comebacks. This team has not shown fight. It has shown that actually when the chips are against it, when it's stacked against the odds, it fucking collapses. And yesterday was the same thing. The more that we were kind of put against the cosh, the worse we looked. So that is something that's going to need to be figured out. And at the same time, I'm not trying to make excuses. Nobody wants to hear that bullshit. But we made some upgrades in the squad, and all the other shit was never washed out. Like, we never moved on from Maguire. He's not going anywhere. Like I said, these other players, these fringe players that need to be moved out so we can bring in new players that fit into the system aren't happening because we have an incompetent front office. The sale's not happening. And like you said, it's a complete S show, and you can feel it, bro. You could feel it from this week because they had to make a big decision, and they're gonna see how it plays out in the press. Everybody loses their mind for good reason, and maybe they'll backstop, maybe they won't. And it feels chaotic. And you can imagine being the fucking manager of this club right now, but it's big pressure on Erik ten Hag. He's the man. He's all we got. He is the entire thing. We have no faith in anyone else. I ain't got no faith in fucking Arnold or Murtaugh or Darren Fletcher. It's on Erik ten Hag to get the most of these lads, and I think he's got to go like that 13-click run in the heat again, like after Brentford, because we got to go hardcore and get the boys running, mix things up, whatever it takes, bro. Whatever it takes, and he's got to stop being so stubborn about his boys, because if Anthony's playing like shit, fucking hook him and put in Palestri. Put in somebody else, because that doesn't work. You're right. He did way too much last year. The fact that Wout got 20 fucking games and Palestri got like 2 games, Wow couldn't hit the broadside of a bar.
No, but that showed up, dude. We saw it. We saw this happen, and it's like, look, we also saw the manager back against the wall, make big calls, and win big games, and that's what he needs to do. And it's like, it's a results-based business. We got away with one last week. Look, this one didn't go too well, and we go again. I mean, that's really it, and he's going to be judged over the entire season. And I think Erik ten Hag, he always has some tricks in his sleeve, and he's got to get back to that mentality he had. That's all I'm trying to say is, like, he's got it. It's just, trying to spin this bad Spurs game into something is not, like, what the manager is all about. He needs to be harsh on these players, and he needs to get rid of all this this mopey attitude. But, sir, we get hell of an intro. Vacation pod. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils, you like the hot fan take. Vacation pod's getting up at 5:45 a.m. Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/American Red Devils. Big shout out to our recent Patreon members who re-upped. We had Potato Smash 7 and Jordan Robinson, who also writes for the blog. Patreon, if you don't know it, keeps the podcast ad-free. Tons of benefits. Please check it out. Patreon.com/American Red Devils. Also check out our website, AmericanRedDevils.com and AmericanRedDevils.store for any merch, scarves, stickers, shirts, pins, you name it. Keep the Muppet Take alive. Support the pod. Also, sir, tell them how they can support us by giving us 5 stars on iTunes and Spotify.
5-star reviews of the American Red Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically. And even better, we're giving away free American Red Devil designed scarves. All you have to do, like John said, is write a 5-star review, ideally on Spotify or iTunes, and send a screenshot of that review to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship a free scarf. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. We mean it. Here's a great review from Matt S11, best Man United podcast on either side of the pond. After trying several Man United podcasts, this is my go-to week after week. A Boston sports fan. Born and bred, I don't hold it against these lads for their Jersey roots. In fact, I'm on the Jersey Shore on vacation with the in-laws. Family this week, shout out. And after hearing the locals banter with each other, I see why John is so angsty and interrupts Alex so much. In all seriousness, these gents bleed red and provide quality free entertainment hours after every game. If you're a true red, you should give them a listen. Sir, he understands us. He understands there's something about Jersey that you just... It ain't just the water. It's the people being back here. You know, I'm dragging my R's further. I'm busting out the how you doing even more. And you know what? I love this community. We love the American Red Devils. I love this club. But this club, bro, it's like I haven't felt this way in a long time. It's
That's
like
killing me.
Dude, it feels like our fucking beautiful Manchester United is like dying, bro. It's like I never felt more, just because everything with the Glazers, them not selling, the Greenwood shit, and how that's
We
been
don't know
handled.
yet. We don't know yet on either
bro,
front.
But we know. You're right. You're 100% right. We don't know definitively on either. But dude, we've been in this game a long time. We've been Manchester United fans and EPL fans for 20 years. Like you can tell, bro. The tea leaves they're blowing in one direction, and the direction is a club that is in chaos, in absolute fucking chaos. Maguire deal fell apart. Like they can't sell anybody. They can't sell Donnie fucking Van de Beek. They can't even cancel Eric Bailly's contract without him getting a payout. And because we can't sell those guys, we can't get in new bodies of younger people that can fit Eric Ten Hag's style, that can run their asses off. We've got, I don't even know. Do we even have one fit striker? I don't think we even have a fit striker. Martial's basically always injured, and obviously Højlund's got it broken back.
No, it's
Rashford's a left winger. Dude, the club is in chaos. It's in absolute chaos, and that's just, I don't know. Before even this game, before this awful performance against Tottenham, who was just like a banter team in the first place, only won 2 titles in their whole career, like half as much as the team about to play next weekend. I don't know. I don't know if you feel the same way, sir, but it just kind of, it's building up on me, and I just feel like there's a lot of negativity in Manchester United for good reason right now.
I mean, that's a big question. I mean, clearly it's like we've been covering this team for years. It's a shit show. We know that. Look who our director of football is, John Murtaugh. It's like, also shame on everyone who said he was doing a good job, by the way. People literally
Seriously.
Twitter are like, Twitter is just like, people say things
Murtaugh
that blow my
madness,
mind.
like, get out of here.
I mean, like, people just want to hype it up, and it's like, we don't have a striker. We bought Mason Mount for $16 million. You think you're going to outsmart the rest of the league? Are you out of your goddamn mind? It's just like, you need a striker. You need Harry Kane. You need to go all in. You needed to get him to Manchester United. That was the only move you needed to do. You don't even need the new goalie, honestly. Like, the new goalie is like the best move we've ever made. But like, my point is, like, you needed a striker. That's what we needed to fix. We decided to overpay for some Danish guy with a broken back. You're never going to win. You're never going to win if you're going to pay $80 million. I'll tell you what kills. You know what loses people jobs? $80 million for Anthony and $60 million for Mason Mount. If those two guys shit the bed, it's hard to come back from. If you're the director of football, it's hard to come back from that. And you know what? For Eric Ten Hag, that's tough. We saw Ole make those calls. Those kill you. Those types of deals, they kill you at the end of the day if they all come up bad. And that's my concern is like we made our bed, and if this Danish kid don't come good, and Antony and Mount are bad, it's like you could just get that money and burn it. It's like
Ten Hag's cooked. He's in trouble. He's
cooked. It's like
dead man walking.
I know. And so the club, there's a lot of pressure on the club. You can kind of feel the cracks, and it's unfair to the manager too, because he came into a dysfunctional organization just like Rangnick did, just like Ole did, and
they all did.
and you know what? That's really the real problem is that we don't have a world-class director of football managing the roster, and it's all like day trading FC. But regardless, let's get into this game. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 0 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's going to bleed onto the pitch, but this team is good enough, and Ten Hag has enough autonomy where he can coach these lads up. And look at what we got on the bench. There's a team there that can beat Tottenham and like play good football. I mean, at the end of the day, like that's really what we need. This 11, Onana and net, probably like the biggest positive for United. Like he looks unbelievable. Probably best keeper in the league, honestly.
He looks outrageous. He's so confident.
Luke Shaw left back, Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka back line, Mount, Casemiro, Fernandez, Garnacho, Rashford, Antony. Look, United come out. We look decent. The biggest change would be that Mount wasn't getting so high. He was playing more in a 2 with Casemiro. A lot of the action going out on the right wing with Antony. Antony was able to kind of cut in and link up with Rashford a little bit for around 20 minutes, and it looked pretty good. 13th minute, Rashford, nice save. Antony released him again, but it was like point blank. 30th minute, nice save from Onana after United lose the ball. And then this is the real chance, the 36th minute Bruno wide open header. Rashford had another really good header from Bruno as well. I honestly think that these guys just don't even head the ball in practice because they're worried about all the this is how soft I think this team is. Like literally,
he was so open.
Literally, I think this team is so soft. They don't even head balls in practice because they're worried about brain damage. Or something like that. Like it's like you can't. Those 2 opportunities are literally like dunk headers. It's like give me some dogs that are heading balls like all day. Like who heads the ball directly at the goal all the time?
Casemiro's the best header on the team.
Why?
He's the best header on the team.
Why?
He's a dog, bro. Because he's got dog for he eats dog food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He's literally a bulldog. He's like a fucking junkyard bulldog.
Like, Bruno, that header is like literally like you or me. That's like you or me who never had the ball. Like
no,
like that was like out of control.
That's a wild header, bro.
Like, and that's what goes through my head with this team, where I'm like, they probably don't even practice heading the ball. Like because
that was one of those chances where it was almost too. He was almost too open. It looked offside. It was actually perfect. No, he just fucked up. He didn't have a good game yesterday, bro. And I'm a huge Bruno
this
apologist.
is a modern day thing. I think this is like a modern day issue where like in a game they'll head the ball, but they're not like practicing it because of like the dementia aspect. Give me someone who doesn't care about dementia. Give me Casemiro. Like we need dogs. We need people who are gonna be heading the ball. It's legal in the game.
That's on the CV.
Like it's
That's
like
on the
literally
job
like
rec. Doesn't
it's like
care
yeah,
about
you do,
dementia.
like. Hey, there's a lot of people who are playing in top athletics that don't care about it, So we need someone like you think. You think Lissandro Martinez cares about getting hit in the head? Not a chance. 40th minute, Spurs hit the post twice. Look, not a good sign. Like we say, great first half, great first half. Spurs are hitting the bar, and it looked like they were going to score from here. But this is the controversial one. United handball, VAR checks it. You give one, you get one, and we pray to the VAR gods. We sacrifice, we make sacrifices to the VAR gods. We got away with one last week. Didn't get it this week. This is stonewall penalty. Like a stonewall penalty. Between the Bruno header and this, it's like, could have gone the other way. It didn't.
It didn't. I mean, you don't take those chances. Like the Bruno one, damn, bro, that sucked. And then this one, it's a handball all day long, bro. It's an unnatural position. His hand is out. It's making his body bigger. It's Romero as well. But this is one of those calls that, like I said, you want to have any fucking argument about who's the biggest club in the world and certainly the biggest club in England. It's like there's one borderline call, and they talk about it all week in the press. All they did was talk about that Onana foul at the end of the game and how hard the goals were. No, but that's the point. The point is they hear it all week, and then they make a shit call because they compensate, bro. They do this all the time in the EPL. Like a bad call is made, and then a week later they like get away with one. Not even always with United, with other teams as well. So once again, the inconsistency of reffing in the EPL is pretty poor considering how elite of a league it is. But either way, we shouldn't be whinging, bro. United should be going out there and scoring goals.
No, exactly.
Most opportunities and building from this first half. It was better, right? You said it wasn't great, but it was better, and they should have been even better in the second half. And instead, they showed up like beat dogs, bro, with the tail between the legs, and they showed up like it was. We got out-muscled by Spurs, and this is a shit Spurs side, bro. Richarlison looks like one of the worst strikers you ever see. He just kept falling over. Like, that was the funniest thing about the game. Is like he looked like Brazilian Wout Weghorst. Like, he had nothing doing, bro. Nothing. And now we can officially slay Wout because he's off the team. But that's even worse. Is like, this is a bad Spurs side. So if you're getting beat up by Spurs and out-muscled by Spurs in the midfield, like, what's a City team going to do to you? What's a Dirty Scouts team going to do to you?
That's a great point, and that's the biggest point that I have to make is that was a bad Wolves team that ran riot and literally should have beat us. And this is a bad Spurs team. Wolves got done 4-1 by Brighton. What happens when we play Brighton?
At home. They got done at home. They got done in the Molyneux, bro.
No, I know, but my point is that we're playing shit football against shit teams. We're Basuma. Again, a player we could have signed, destroyed the midfield. Just absolutely destroyed the midfield. And it's like they're going with the standard two dogs in the midfield doing all the work. And it's like we're trying to do this Mason Mount, smarter than everyone in the league, and just getting crushed. Coming out the second half, didn't make the adjustments. And what happens? 49th minute.
Kulusevski's cut back. By the Great White Wall, and Spurs are on their way.
Look, I can't say this wasn't in the run of play. Spurs get a goal, probably deserved a goal. Lucky deflection. Sarr gets it. One of those midfielders we're talking about, and United go down 1.
They go down 1, got a little bit of luck in the deflection, and then it went right to the far post, and the guy bangs it in. But it was along the run of play. United came out just like dead duck FC. And more importantly, okay, you could see the goal in the first 5 minutes. How do you respond? Do you come out and just you're chasing down every ball and fucking running in packs and hunting them down to get the ball back? Or do you, like you said, stick your tail between your legs and pack up your prem and run off? And it's like dude, that's what makes me the most nervous. Is there's one thing about responding tactically to the game and the way you line up with the manager, but the players, bro, it's we can only blame the manager so much. The players got to respond. The dogs in the field got to respond. Bruno, Rashford, Casemiro, Mount, bro, come on, dude. You won a Champions League. We need players to step up, and the fact that we went down by a goal and it was all right, that's it. 50 minutes left in the game. Yeah, that's it.
We had
nothing, dude, and even more so after the second goal. But by the 60th minute, I was like, this is over. I was like, this is done. We have no fight left. There's no conviction.
You know what I said in the car?
And we look worse than the subs almost.
I'm on I-5 in the car. I'm like, this team is
I-5.
This team's gonna kill me. This team's gonna kill me.
It will.
They got no fight away at Spurs. We laugh at Tottenham Hotspur. Now Spurs is just bossing us. It's you gotta be kidding me. Come on, it's somebody show something. We're dying. We had nothing. This is why it's look, people are gonna freak the hell out about this game, whatever. And it's it's a long season, but this team gets to this point, and it's just we've seen it too much, man. Where it's the Liverpool last year, the Liverpool year before that, got Ole fired, just we're good, dude. And it's no, you're not good. You're getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds to represent the greatest club in the world, and if you don't get that, then I don't know what to do, And it's look, the manager was mashed potatoes on the tactics. He put Mount at 10. He put Bruno on the right. Rashford still was at 9 after making the adjustments here. 66th minute, Delo, Eriksson, Sancho for Anthony, Garnacho, and AWB. He took AWB off, which I thought was interesting.
Which could have been the yellow. I didn't see that.
Could have been the yellow card, but I was look, that's going to lead us to a goal. Now you're throwing Delo in.
He didn't look that good anyway.
That didn't make sense to me. The whole Eriksson for it just It was very throw it against the wall, like the tactics. And again, like I said, Ten Hag has not gotten a hold of a game. He got it wrong against Wolves from the gate, couldn't make the adjustment. I would argue Spurs was like not completely wrong to the start, but after the goal, the adjustment was completely incorrect. Like Palestri should have been coming on earlier. I just kind of felt that he didn't really make the move to put Rashford out wide, put Bruno in the hole. Like it was very obvious, and it didn't go well because 83rd minute.
Son, Maddison, slung out towards Perisic. Davies! He'll take it if you give it him.
You know what rubs salt in the wound even more? An own goal, and Spurs could have 3 or 4. That's really the whole thing. We could play the narrative like penalty, but Son almost had another goal here. We really had no fight late in the game. It was like hold on stuff. Double sub, Martial and Palestri for Mount and Rashford finally at the end. Rashford throwing things, looking upset. Palestri had added a little bit of a spark. Martial, you didn't rate that performance, but I didn't think it was horrible. At the end of the day, I mean, like he does have decent efficiency when he's healthy, so I'm not going to write off Martial. But look, at the end of the game, and this is quite a red flag in my opinion, because you remember not like a few months ago playing them at home, we started with like fire, like great attacking football, scored 2 goals, and then we obviously like gave up 2. But it was like I remember watching that game. Ironically, I was driving in Southern California, but I was like in my car listening to the audio, and I was so pumped up. Like we had a hot start, we were scoring, Bruno involved, cutting him open, putting him to the sword, and man, I felt like Manchester United football.
Second half. Remember the second half?
I mean that was tough though, but like you saw the gears that we had, right? And then now where'd they go? It's like how do we get worse? How do we make the moves we made, add the players we picked up, and then are worse, right? That's really the issue that I have is both times Ten Hag has come up with managers with less time with their teams, and they look like they've been coaching them longer. And that to me is the scariest part about this is like they're bad teams with new managers. Ten Hag has had a year, had another preseason, and it's like we're seeing bad football. And that should be a red flag because looking at that 11, it shouldn't be bad. It really shouldn't. Looking at the stats, 22 shots to United to 17 for Spurs, 6 on target for both teams. Spurs had more of the ball at home, 56%. We were playing on the counter, but again, pretty even. XG, we had them 2.01 to 1.58. Spurs 2 for 2. They've won 1, drawn 1. They have 4 points. United, we got 3. And all this comes down to is it's a long season, and we have to get to international break. You basically have to beat Nottingham. It's a must-win against Nottingham Forest at home. But we're back to the
must-win.
Just like last year, it's a must-win against a shit team at home. This is where we're at already. And then it's don't get embarrassed at Arsenal away. That's literally it. It's like you got 2 games.
Play for a draw in London.
Yeah, but all fans need to realize this. All fans need to understand. You got to beat Nottingham Forest at home, which we will. We'll get 3 points. And then Ten Hag has to literally understand how to manage through the whole season, and he's got to pack it in against Arsenal and not get embarrassed. Like you literally have to play defensive because this is a batten down the hatches, like survive mode, get to international break, and come out with the Danish kid ready to go. You really have to plan it where it's like, all right, something's not right. Survive, right? And that's we didn't see survive against the Scouse Bastards, right? We didn't see that last season, so let's see if we can play survival football. And this is when the tide's against you, it's against you, and we'll get it. This team will play shit. It will get hot. This is not over. It's not the end of the season, the second game. It's just I want to see the manager manage the situation a little bit. And kick on from there. But what do we know? Let's check in with the manager, Erik ten Hag.
Half, you perhaps looked the more likely winners. Second half, though, were you really disappointed with what you saw?
You would make a face. You don't like it first half, but I liked it first half. I think.
No, I said it was the first half.
It was a very good performance of Manchester United first half, except we have to score. And we created good chances. We had a really good press on the ball. We let them run. We had good switches. We had many chances to score a goal, and we deserved a penalty. I don't know why it's penalty.
Are you talking about the handball from Romero?
Absolutely penalty. He changes the direction of the ball, and he's blocking. The hand is wide above. But okay, you have to accept it.
Do you also look at that? I mean, you were mentioning chances there. A huge one for Bruno Fernandes with a header. Is that something that goes in? It's a complete turning point in the match.
Absolutely, it is the meaning of the first goal, and I think the switch is the change in the game is first we get quickly 3 bookings. Can't happen. We have to stay focused about unnecessary bookings, and then we switch off. They had in one attack 2 big chances. They hit twice the barrier, so that was no good. And then the start of the second half was definitely no good. You have to stay on the front foot. It was totally unnecessary to concede that goal. And as I said, the meaning of the first goal, from that moment on, you were following facts. But we didn't collapse. We fought back. But yeah, we didn't
All right,
score.
sir. You heard the manager. Sounds like you with the first half, kind of like showing the positives. Like, how do you feel about the manager coming out positive after a pretty bad loss like that?
I think he's just trying to save face a little bit with the players, give them a little bit of space. I think the message he's going to reverberate back to them after the game is going to be much harsher, I would expect, and it has to be, because there's one thing you say to the press, to the numpty idiots like Simon Stone of the world, like, yeah, we created some good chances, we lost control in the second half, blah, blah, blah. There was an element of luck. They were the better team probably over 90 minutes. I wouldn't argue against that. But if you look at their goals, a little bit of luck. But that being said, United was not nearly good enough. I think he knows that. I think he's trying to be positive, but it's on him, like you said. Think about this manager is like he's gone both ways in games. Certain games where he's like nailed it. He's like nailed it tactically in games, made the adjustment, and then we've also seen him like tactically fucking whiff, which is a little surprising because like he looks like a mad Dutchman. He looks like a tactician, like a player. We've seen that already. He has all these different formats and how he likes to put up his sides and adjust during games. But sometimes like he just gets it wrong. And yesterday he just got it wrong, sir. Like those subs didn't work. AWB for Delo, maybe it was the yell, but like Delo didn't come in and start offering something from the attack. Like you said, pushing one of our best players out of position. When has Bruno been good on the wing? Like he can do it, but he's better. Even if he had a bad game, Bruno will all of a sudden have like one outrageous pass that makes it worth it, right? Like the game before, he had the pass that led to the pass for the goal, and had a pretty average game until then. So you keep him in, and you keep him in the middle. So like what I'm getting at is, it's surprising that we've seen such a high level of variability in his ability to manage games in the middle of it. And this was one where he got it totally wrong.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Last year when he got it wrong, he changed it maybe game to game and turned us around. So like back against the wall, like I believe in Ten Hag, but I feel like there's a point where a manager comes out defensive. And last year he wasn't like that. He was kind of like, yeah, that was a shit game. I like that. So I want him to be confident in who he is and realize what worked last year. And like that worked last year. Like the whole Ole Mr. Nice Guy, we always play well. That didn't work last year. So it's like I don't want to see Ten Hag go fully that way. I need him to be like harsh and be like, we didn't have fight. Like against the Wolves, he was like all positive, and then now he's all positive after getting beat. It just kind of doesn't feel like him. And when managers start not acting themselves, that's when things...
Oh, that's red flag. That's like literally
I know,
red light flashing.
It's not quite there, No,
I don't think so.
And look, I think...
But that is a sign. That is definitely a sign, like when they start saying what they're not normally saying, right?
Yes. So I think, again, he's a little shook. Like I think he was shook at the beginning of last season. I think he's a little shook now. I said it this year will be 5th. I thought we would regress. You have seasons like United is overperform seasons, underperform seasons, right? I think we're in that trend. And look, I think this will be I think we'll get a lot better. And depending on the Danish kid, we can outperform that. But like, I think this is going to be a rough start, and it's all coming on the other side of the international break. That's when I really think we can hit our stride with Casemiro in the middle of the park. We're playing a new way. There are reasons for why we're not 110. So we get the Danish kid in, we get Rashford on the left, we get the Casemiro, Bruno, Mount playing together a little more. We're going to see it. We're going to see the team do well. It's just you got to weather the storm, and there's pressure. And pressure at United is like, yeah, there's pressure, sir. There's pressure on all fronts, and the front office ain't doing them any favors. But look, we got a next match. That's right. We're playing Nottingham Forest at home. Must win already, sir. We're back to the must wins. Saturday, August 26th, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. I will be watching it in a car on the road once again.
I'm flying.
It's like killing me. Nottingham Forest. I'll tell you what, when you looked at the schedule, you didn't think this Nottingham Forest game would be a must-win back against the wall. But here we are. Lifetime Nottingham
Forest. Every
shit
game, every game in the bottom 10 at home is a must-win for United because we're just dropping points everywhere else. We're terrible on the road against all the good teams, so that means that every other game is really important. So
don't you dare call Spurs
FC,
good.
Sir.
Spurs without Harry Kane, don't call them good. Games 152 against Nottingham Forest, drawn 24, lost 33. First time we played them, we drew 1-1 in the first division in 1892. Last 5, we've won them all. Why are we worried, sir? We are the greatest in English football. Nottingham Forest did beat Sheffield United 2-1, and Arsenal beat them 2-1. Nottingham Forest is frisky, and again, every game in the English Premier League is a tough game. So this is not going to be easy. We have to be at our best when we kick off against Nottingham Forest. They play the 3-4-3-1. I mean, as far as who we have to worry about, ain't nobody on this team we got to worry about, sir, as far as I'm concerned.
They're frisky, though. Like you said, like they actually outplayed Arsenal in that first game of the season. They could have beat them. I bet if they played at home and played the same performance, they would have beat them. Their finishing wasn't quite good enough. This is one of those teams, like you said, bro, this is a bottom half side. They're not quite as bad as Sheffield United. But every team in the EPL is so fucking good that if you just don't show up for one of them, we will lose. Like, if we don't show up, if we pull a Wolves, we could lose easily against Nottingham Forest because they're dangerous. They're
better than Wolves.
They attack. Exactly. They're better than Wolves. They've been together more, and they are dangerous, right? Their striker's pretty good. So, like, if we go in there sleepwalking, we will lose, and we will be really in trouble because then you don't want to be in a position where you have to beat Arsenal on the road because that's not a good situation to be in.
Yes, and I think we're going to beat them, right? But I also thought we would come out against Spurs much better than we did, right? I thought we would come out more like we did last season. So I'm hoping, again, we're going to come out with more piss and vinegar here. But look, tons of injuries. Mainu, he's out. We got an update late October. Højlund, we heard the Arsenal game. Ten Hag said, no big deal. This injury is not a big deal. He's fine. Then it's the Arsenal game. Then I bet you they're going to push that. To
end
post.
September, probably, right? You got a month still.
Of course, yeah. Which is the right call. But to say it's not a big deal when you paid $70 million and then you're not going to play the kid for 2 months, that's crazy.
That game. He's doing.
No, I know.
But he's like protecting his empty front office.
He's covering for the front office. That's what I'm trying to say. Magoo, LOL, he's out because he has a knock / trying to move. Malacia, knee injury, no return date. Ahmad, no return. Ahmad is the one we really need. And that's what's such a shame is that preseason injury, he be coming in for Antony, probably making a difference for United right now. Arguably could even get the start, right? If he came in, Antony's not playing well, comes in, could literally be a starting right back for Manchester United, and instead he's injured. And this is it's a tough go with these injuries. Tom Heaton, obviously, we're really worried about him with that calf. Given those injuries, what is your starting 11 here?
You slay. All right, this is my 11. I got Onana in net. He's going to be the sign of the summer, like you said, without a doubt.
I think of the league, of the whole league, I bet you.
He could be of the entire league. No, he is outrageous, bro. He is an incredibly good keeper. Obviously, playing the Champions League final, he is rated as one of the best keepers with his feet. in the game, and he just takes us up another level. So
no, he's a different. You look at him on the field, and this is why. And like he's the Manchester United keeper. Right?
He is, dude. He's got the confidence. He's got the swagger. He's got the presence.
That jersey ain't nothing. It's a light jersey on him. Like he's got that. You can, and that's what's amazing is you could 2 games. You can tell how a player wears that kit. You can tell how he commands the field. He's running the show. He's a Manchester United player, right? And that's when you could start looking at like the bluffers on the team, right? It's like the jersey's heavy, right? On players you can only use one foot.
No, the players who are exposed, like
and it's like he's impacts. A dog. He's the saves he's made unbelievable. The pass he made outrageous. He is an unbelievable player, and the valuation, like he's worth over $100 million. Like even after these 2 games, it's over 100. Like so, this is a great deal. But unfortunately, goalkeeper and defense was not broken. Like we did upgrade, we got a great keeper, but what I said in the offseason, he doesn't score goals.
And we need goals.
We need goals.
We need goals desperately. And the players, it's a good point, sir. It's like the players who have been a success. This is even like during the glory years, right? Players who have been a success, like they, almost right away. It's like, and even thinking about the non-glory years, the few signings that have come off, they have hit the ground running fucking immediately. Bruno, Casemiro once he was playing full 90s, obviously Onana, and it's just like Mount. I missed Mount for 40 minutes yesterday. I was like, I didn't notice Mount at all, bro. He ain't look like no number 7. Like that's gonna kill him.
People are killing. You got to give the guy time.
Fucking,
I mean, like people are.
Of course
killing
you
him,
do, but he's fucked because like the whole world hates United and all of English press hates United, and the fact that he left Chelsea to go to United and as an English lad, they're gonna fucking kill him. So I'm rooting for Mount. But, number 7's tough. Anyway, back to the lineups. Onana, AWB, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. I'm going to do Case, Mount, Bruno. You got to figure that shit out eventually. Rashford's playing on the left. Martial, he's our only number 9. You got to throw him in for 60 minutes. And then on the right, I'm going to go with Jadon Sancho. So what do you got for your starting 11?
I have the same 11, except on the right, I'm going Palestri. You got to start getting creative.
Love it. Let's go, baby.
Like, he deserves it. I love to see him coming in off the right. The way he dribbles, he can carry progressive carries from that kid. Unbelievable.
Dude, he turned that left
really
back.
like
Remember that?
No,
he
exactly.
That edge
he's
always cuts back in on the byline. He looks dangerous.
He's always showing you something. He will not start. So you could also argue starting him would be a bad idea. You could also go. I think it's the Sancho false 9 also. So I'm gonna put a Rashford, Sancho. I'm going to put Palestri in there. We need a little juice. We need to gamble a little bit. This is Manchester United. You got to show up a little surprise on the roster. Give a kid a shot. See if he's got dog in him. Let's go. Sir, what we got for the betting odds?
Here comes the money.
The odds. United the heavy favorites. Minus 340 at home. Plus 470 for the draw. And, plus 854. Nottingham Forest on the road, man. If I was a neutral, I'd be taking that money. I hate to say it. Sir, given the odds, what is your score prediction?
I'm going to say 2-1 to United. I think we win. It's a dogfight. We see much more of what we saw last season from Manchester United, from our captain, Bruno Fernandes, and from Marcus Rashford playing on the left wing. I think we kind of solved the ailments of the stubborn 11 we saw over the last 2 games.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. Same tone and tenor, but different result. 1-0 United, like hard-fought, better, but like still a dogfight. Forest, they ain't going to roll over easy, and United aren't going to be at 100% quite yet.
And I feel like in the EPL, when a team's struggling, it's like blood in the water. Like a Nottingham Forest is coming for you. Like they know that United's struggling.
Yep.
And it's like when you're struggling in the English Premier League, it's like your next match is twice as hard because the other team's coming harder because they know. And because honestly, tactically, we've been exposed, and the managers know how to play against us.
No,
and
they do. They're smart,
and that's
bro.
why you need to it's a little game theory now, because Nottingham Forest is gonna play how Wolves played.
Yep.
Right. And so it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it goes. United in the news. All right, Eric Ten Hag claims he's happy that Maguire rejected a £30 million move to West Ham, and insists that he doesn't want Johnny Evans to stay at the club. So apparently, up is down, black is white, Magoo is great.
Hey, bro, he's just eating the shit pies that John Murtaugh and Richard Arnold are cooking up for him. We talked about this, bro. We talked about this for weeks and months. It's like this club is terrible at selling. And this club, it all stems from the fact that we're bad at buying. We overpay. We give players huge contracts. And we don't have a competent front office. And that's the story of this right now, is that like you have idiots in charge, you're going to make idiotic moves, you're going to overpay for players, and you're going to have an inability to even sell players. When other teams are selling dog shit players for 40, 50 million pounds in the fucking Middle East, when there's this like boondoggle going on as Saudi Arabia tries to win the 2030 World Cup, the fact that we haven't hopped aboard that like choo-choo train and just like sold some of our players to Al Hilal or whoever the fuck's over there, like that is a fucking indictment of this front office. We gotta be selling players. We talked about it with Fred, bro. We sold him for 12 million fucking pounds, but Fabinho's going for 45. And now we can't sell Magoo, basically because we don't know the whole story, never do. But they agreed to 30 million.
There is no story. There is no story. Dude, they didn't like figure out the wages with Magoo before trying to
wanted to pay him out.
Deal
What's
him.
the story?
That's the whole. Here's the story: we're losing money hand over fist. We're paying top dollar, and we're signing horde players. How much do you sell Anthony for? Nothing. How much do you sell Magoo for? Nothing.
Sancho, nothing.
Nothing. It's like you can't lose. You can't keep losing 80 million every year. Like United doesn't make that much money. I can run through the numbers. Like we make more money than like pretty much anyone in world football. We can't be taking these 80 million shots like
it's an expensive
year.
L.
Like,
it's an expensive L, bro.
Like it's unbelievable. It's like it'd be like you buying your kid a Ferrari, he's crashing it every week. It's like it's like you think you'd stop buying Ferraris, right? It's
right,
like at a certain point you got to be like, all right, what about maybe Basuma? Get this tricky guy in here. He looks like a player.
Value.
Like
we need to go start
30
value,
million.
bro.
Oh wow, he's playing well.
Value.
And then exactly like everything we're doing, we haven't quit that. Like Ed Woodward, parade out the big money commercial, Chevrolet, get Pogba in a Chevrolet truck,
Pogba,
type of deal.
Lukaku,
like we're dying with this
Di
stuff,
Maria.
and it's like we never got off of it, and we have Ed Woodward's protege at the club, and that's ultimately like. What we see on the pitch, if you talk about leadership, you go to Harvard Business School. Sir Alex Ferguson went to Harvard Business School, gave speeches about it. He talked about control in the locker room and everything, but an organizational is top down, right? And it has to have mission, vision, values, and everything has to be focused on the pitch, results, elite, right? That's what United, if you were to try to figure out what Manchester United is, and you can't have moron running it. Right,
two morons.
You can't have morons running an elite organization, right? Because that bleeds down, it affects the manager, and then ultimately, the focus isn't on the football, which is the core value of what Manchester United is. And then once it's all based on commercial deals, then you basically erode your culture to the point where the lads got no fight Tottenham away, right? Like I mean, it's a decade of just mismanagement. And we're seeing that. We saw Arnold like nervous talking to fans last year. That now we can transition into the Greenwood debacle where they're about to like shove this one down our throat. Where Richard Arnold is going to give like a PR video. He's walking around telling everyone he's coming back. Oh, by the way, the American Red Devils, reading the tea leaves, we knew he was coming back. And the reason why we knew he was coming back is because we weren't in the market for another striker. Right. As soon as Manchester United wasn't in the market for Harry Kane or alone in another striker, we knew that Richard Arnold's master plan, because he's a fucking moron, it's not that hard to see, was to bring Greenwood back, right? And then you'd have Højlund, Antony, and Greenwood, and that'd be three people that could play number 9. That's what you need. And for some reason, he thought this was like a grand reveal, a grand plan. We commented on this incident a long time ago. Like for me, I think Manchester United has to stand for something. I understand it's innocent until proven guilty. And, everyone's got their opinion. It's very divided. Unfortunately, I never thought I'd have to give my opinion on this. But, I thought, like, Manchester United has to stand for something, and we have to have values as a club, and, like, those values don't align. So that's kind of where I come at it. And if you're going to run a youth academy, you have to set an example for them. And I don't think that, letting this go unpunished or not having consequences would not set a good example for your youth academy for like the next 100 years, right? I don't know what you think.
Sir, this is something that you and I don't want to talk about. We talk about football things, and that's part of the fun thing about this pod is that it kind of just stays on the sporting aspect. Manchester United has one of the finest academies in all of football, certainly in England, and it has a reputation. It has a really good reputation. If you send a Manchester United lad on loan, if they buy one at a contract, whatever, they know they're getting a good lad. It's like part of the rep. It's like they're well-trained, they have discipline, they have respect, and this is a decision made by people who only care about money. And the Glazers are making this decision. Ten Hag will bear the brunt of it because they'll be like, we'll give you nobody or Mason. He takes Mason, and then everybody who wants it to be a no in terms of bringing him back will blame Erik ten Hag retroactively, which I get to a certain extent because I guess maybe he could fucking, kill it. But I think at the end of the day, he's being told what has to happen. And this is a decision that should not stand in Manchester United. It's like, I agree. Innocent proven guilty. Charges fell away. But we've all seen what we've seen. We've heard. And the right move is to cut the contract, let him go on his own, let him go the way of the water and go anywhere he wants, go to Italy, go elsewhere in England. And the decision would be different. If he was a shit football player, if he was Wout Weghorst, they'd fucking cut his ass. But because Mason Greenwood showed incredible promise before he got suspended, they're not going to do that. So the soul of this club is dying because it has been owned by a cancerous force for 20 years, and I just don't know how much longer it can survive because this is going to have huge impact on both how we're perceived globally, how we're perceived locally, and how we're perceived internally, because this is going to be bad for everything, bro. This is going to be such a bad fucking look if they do it, because it's not just this incident. Apparently, we had issues before with him, right? Showing up late, stuff with like the England camp, and we've heard like once this came out how much of a fucking pain in the ass he was in the academy. So you bring him back, make special conditions for a player that's basically coming top down. I think this is going to be bad for morale. It's going to be bad for the club. It's going to be bad for the fans. And you know England, bro. You know fucking England well. You go to we're going to go to Luton Town away, and he plays, like they're going to have a song just for him. And this is going to follow the club around everywhere we go. And there's only one decision to make.
And there's no guaranteed. There's no guarantee he'd be good.
He could suck. He could totally you lose a year and a half when you're 20. That's not easy, man. Like it's not just like, oh, he'll just get back in there.
No, it's a lose
the right wing.
Sir.
Like he could suck. He could actually lost it, but like they're taking a huge risk because maybe they won't have to buy another player, which they probably will anyway. It's fucking bad, bro. It's a bad decision. But it's made by people who don't know what they're doing and have no respect for the club or the fans. And they don't even know how to succeed. They're actually fucking idiots because it's like if they were smart, they'd hire a top-tier talent in the front office, and instead they've hired yes-men, and here we are. Sorry, so that was a rant.
No, I love the rant. But regardless of where you stand on this, the major issue that I have, number one, is this is like a bomb that's got all the wires and you don't know which one to cut. It's
exactly.
No matter what you do, short of you, the reason why, it comes down to you protect the brand at all costs. Basically
100%.
What is the value of Manchester United, and the value is that badge and what it stands for and what people look at it. And when I look at that badge, and I have an emotional connection to it, and that is why people, will travel there and pay the money, etc. And then if you make decisions that can risk that badge, like something like this, or maybe what happens if we have heard nothing from him either. He hasn't come out. He hasn't apologized. He hasn't said anything. There hasn't been any campaign to hear his side of the story or to correct the record.
That's coming.
But that's my point is this could damage the brand of United, and you have to protect the brand at all costs. And this could go a lot of ways. He could come back, be bad. He could come back, do something else. Yeah, that is bad, right? So it's I just look at this bomb, I see all these wires, and I'm clearly you just don't even deal with it. You get rid of it, right? Richard Arnold is an idiot and thinks he can cut all the wires right and fix the situation. Number one, you don't let it lag this long. Should have been dealt 100%. With during the summer. Should have been dealt with on a busy news week. Something else going on. When you're a multi-billion-dollar company, $6 billion arguably or $5 billion, you could hire people who could tell you how to deal with this, right? And I could come up with a strategy where you basically say something to the tune of, for the people who think Mason Greenwood deserves a second chance, that Richard Arnold, and this is leadership, comes out, strong statement. Look, investigation came back. There's no direct evidence. He's cleared legally. But again, this club has high values, high regards for standards in the youth academy and young players, and Mason Greenwood has failed to meet those, so we are going to send him on loan. And short of him, doing X, Y, and Z, rehab, and being part of the community and showing he is living up to these values, he will never play for Manchester United again. So you kind of you keep him under contract, you send him away, and then you make him do all this rehabilitation stuff. And then if he's able to do all this stuff and do all this work, then and only then, and obviously he has to play well.
He has to score goals.
He could come back, right?
Yeah.
So you get the second chance, you get the holding the brand values, and you get to see if he's any good, right? And that's clearly the I'm going into strategy mode, which is obviously my heart says never play again for United. But if you're going to be a leader, you're going to run $1 billion organization, that has to be the strategy. And instead you got Richard Arnold walking around telling everyone he's coming back and how he's going to do this great video. It's
unbelievable.
Under no circumstances should you bring him right back into the 11. That should not be on
madness.
The table. And so the idea that anyone thinks that let's bring Mason Greenwood back, he's going to save us. It's that is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Clearly you have to have protection for the brand. You have to be thinking about all the things I just laid out. And that if you're competent, that is how you would deal with it. I know that was a long business strategy session, but I think that's the only way that you could arguably do it.
They're going to execute this, and this is the last thing we'll say about it. They're going to execute this with as much fucking finesse as they execute anything, bro. These guys are fat-fingered idiots. They have no clue what they're doing. They have no idea. That is a great point. They would have handled this right. They would have been ahead of it. They don't wait until the season's frothy as shit. The EPL season just kicked off. There's all this going on. There's transfers still happening. It's this is the worst time to do it. And then they're going to just push his ass back onto fucking Carrington and be get back at it, lad. It's like you said, you have to drip, drab it. You have to kind of do it in waves. And they're just, they're doing cheap and dumb. And that's who's running this club.
And now they're going to get rid of him, right?
That's all they got.
Now it's now the rumors came out that they were also the way they dealt with the Athletic
Women's
story was
team are
embarrassing.
All fucking pissed off. Most fans don't want it. It's now they're well, this is how they do it, bro. They leak in the press, see how people react, and then they fucking reactively react, which is not how elite institutions are thinking ahead.
No.
They do proactive planning. They have strategy. These guys are fucking idiots. I can't say that enough. These guys are not qualified to be there. We're one of the worst run clubs in the EPL in terms of clubs that actually stay up each year, right? And even the clubs that bounce up and down. I bet you Sheffield United is better run than us, bro, because they probably have a front office that's not just best is David Moyes is the leftover guy. He became our DOF. That's all I got to tell you. All right, and Richard Arnold is number 2 to fucking Ed Woodward. And those are the guys who run Manchester United, the most well-known, historically valuable, and just important football club in the world. And there you go. And that's how you end up just floundering like we have been over the last decade.
Yeah, look, and let's see how they deal with it. But I'll tell you, leaking it to the somehow it gets leaked to the press, then the Athletic are going to report on it, then they jerseyed the Athletic, because the Athletic asked for a response.
They did.
Then they did that's not good either, right? That's showing bad management. Now they're going to 180 the decision. And it's that's not good management. And so it's just panicshop.com. It is not how you run a multi-billion-dollar organization. And that's all on the Glazers. The Glazers hire these guys. And we're doomed. You say it all the time. We're not going to win. We're not going to win nothing without the Glazers. And here's the deal. We got and at the end of the day, all this, I hate talking about the Greenwood stuff. I hate it, but all this polarization, all this crazy crap, it's all laid at the foot of the Glazers. And if they say they're not selling this club, it's about to get real, dude. I'm afraid what's going to happen if they're jacking up all this stuff, the team's playing like shit, and then they're we're not selling. It's bruh. I just you saw what happened at that match, but I think it's going to be people have had enough, and I don't think they realize it. Obviously, they don't care. People are I'm sure the people in Manchester are who are at the stadium are like, you should reconsider because everyone's going to be like really mad.
Say
I don't
something.
think the Glazers have any idea. Like,
make an announcement.
It's literally like fans are going to burn the mother down. I mean, it's going to be like barbarians at the.
No, they're going to shut games. They're going to shut
like,
games down again. Oh yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like Manchester United might not be able to play games because the fans are going to shut it down. Like that's how bad this is going to get. And you know what? They deserve it, and fans should be fighting for this club. Like we always are Glazers out, and it's not over yet. But if they're dragging their feet, we're supposed to get all this dealt with before the start of the season, and dragging their feet is not a good sign. So insane days at Manchester United. Insane days. Like I never thought when we started a podcast, I thought we'd just be like, oh, we're winning, winning titles. Let's go. Like instead, it's like Glazers, all this stuff. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Let's get into fan questions here. This will cheer us up for sure.
Yeah, get the spiciest ones, please.
At BubC316, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought this match was at the end of last year. We looked absolutely gassed. Wolves and Spurs showing more intensity with managers who've barely been at their clubs. This is not a good start. I think it's a fair point. At Glazers Out FC, can't count how many times Tottenham would shoulder fake one direction, then run the opposite. Our guys would completely bite. Absolute meltdown, bad finishing, bad passing, bad organization. Fitness isn't there. And what is Anthony doing out there?
Keep going. Dude, the fans are better than us right now. Get him. Keep him going. Keep it going.
Dude, I hate to say it, but like he is, like
he looked terrible, bro.
That's a red flag because Ten Hag was like, "That's my boy."
He hit the post. He did hit the post, but otherwise he did nothing.
Did you see that one that sailed? He did a curler that was like good build up, and he sailed it like. And I'm just like this dude. Like somebody's got to pull him over and be like, "Yo, bro, like, hey." Just like work harder.
He got a petulant yellow. He just like he can't control. Dude, I don't know, bro. That's problem is you bet $80 million on a horse. If it goes bad, that's a lot of coin to drop on one horse, and we keep doing it.
At Gray Internet, horrific week for the club. Maguire refusing to leave. The Greenwood debacle capped off with another spineless performance away. The only thing holding this club together has been the manager, and now fans are starting to turn on him. What can we do now? Wow. Look, back the manager, obviously.
Protect him.
The whole point is look, bad start last year, he turned it around. Bad start this year, does he deserve some criticism? Absolutely. Back-to-back doesn't make the adjustments, can't make the adjustments in game. But the players are also not helping him, His boy Anthony that he is not helping him. Rashford at
Mount.
9 isn't, Exactly. So the manager has his guys, and look, he's going to make some ice-cold changes, and we know he's got it in him. I back Ten Hag all day, But it doesn't mean that when he doesn't get it right for the start of a season that A, it's not a big deal, or B, he shouldn't get some fair shots for how we start. Next one here. How many more years until there's actually a 1 and 2 striker on this team? Richard Arnold and Glazers out, please. How many years until we have legit strikers? Like a legit striker, like say Rooney, RVP type striker.
There's like elite, bro. Like, I don't know, dude. Like I said, I laugh with you about this all the time. I believe in the universe in many things that it's perfect in certain instances. And we had a really good 30 years, and the Scousers had a really good 30 years, and they had a 30-year drought. I think we're in a 30-year drought, bro. I say it to you, I laugh about it. Like 20 years, we'll be taking our kids when they're in college to see United lift titles. It could be that long. And you know what? We don't do anything quickly enough. So, whenever we're, going for a position, we should have already backed it a year or two ago. Remember, with the center backs and the right wing. Right wing is still not settled. We spent $200 million on it. We have no idea who's going to be our guy for the next 5 years. We need to spend, hundreds of millions and windows after windows to get to a place.
I don't think it's a money problem. I don't think it's a money problem, honestly.
We overspend on players.
No, I think it's a brains problem, right? I honestly think that the world has changed. It went from, paying top dollar, robbing everyone of their best players to trying to find value in the market, right? So, you need smart director of football. You need, a world-class director of football who can find value in a very difficult market, right? And that's what you pay for. That's how you win now. You look at Brighton. They had
elite
director of football who can find elite talent in a difficult market, right? Look at Matoma. How do you find that guy? Like
he's $100 million player already, bro.
No, I know.
He's like
you don't need to pay
Better than Anthony.
86 for Anthony and bet the farm on if this guy's going to figure it out in the EPL who's unproven. No, you need to pay $20 million for 4 Matomas. That's how you win.
Right.
So
or 86 for Kane.
Yeah, the way you win is like you need to be able to find value in the market, like Basuma, Matoma, and then you need to splash the cash for like the guys who are the sure thing. And it's like my background comes from the pharmaceutical industry, selling companies. Big pharma doesn't take bets, dude. They buy the sure thing. It's like United has to know that. You don't take bets. You don't buy phase 2 drugs. You buy the ones that are approved because they're $1 billion guarantees. It's like when you're in Manchester United, you don't do $80 million bets. You do $80 million sure things, $120 million sure things. It's like this club's got to learn, and like we don't have a strategy, we don't operate with a strategy, and if you don't have strategy in business and you're literally burning $80 million checks and they're coming up zero, like you're gonna have a bad time, and that's where we are. And somehow we haven't learned the lesson, right? It's unbelievable.
Well, they have, dude. I mean, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and that's what we have. It's like you have the same idiots in charge, same sweaty morons, and they keep making the same L's. Well, you're going to keep doing it until you finally fucking figure it out that you got to do something different. And so there you are. It's not complicated. This is very simple. It's very simple to fix. It's a little bit expensive. It takes a little time. You got to put people in place. You got to motivate them, compensate them the right way. But like, this is not rocket science, bro. It's not. You just poach the finest people you can get and afford from other clubs. They all want to play. Trust me. People want to work for Manchester United. It still has prestige. It's an unbelievable club, unbelievable brand, unbelievable fans. It's just that like the owners are not motivated because they don't give a fuck, bro. They have contempt for the club and the fans. And like you said, they don't give a shit. They're chilling in Tampa. And there you go. So we're going to suffer as long as they own the club. And they seem to be looking like they ain't going nowhere anytime soon because they're hoping Boley and some other Americans around can help like push the Super League in a couple of years when people calm down, because that's probably the long con that they're looking at.
Look, it's an interesting start to the season. I got one more for you here to finish it off. At Sabres, Car Guy 9. How much will the boys run tomorrow? Horrible, just horrible. Hashtag Glazers out. Sir, I hope somewhere the boys are running. And the Mad Dutchman is getting back to basics. Because when he gets back to basics and he's ruthless, Manchester United will be ruthless once again. And I am confident we will see that, and we will see good football from our manager. But you should be judged on how you can survive the hard times. And we're in like a hard patch right now. We didn't look at the schedule and think that we would be. But, man, it's about surviving and getting to international break. I think we will do that. I think we'll beat Nottingham Forest. Steal a point against Arsenal. We'll go in on the up. This manager has turned it around before. He took a horrid Brentford performance and beat the Scouse Bastards at home in a convincing way. We're going to see that same 180 degrees from our manager again. I just hope it's before international break.
You and me both. I don't need that negativity heading into that week off. So, like you said, let's right the ship. Let's grit out some kind of result against the Gunners, and then let's get our Dane, baby. We're all in on our Rasmus Højlund, so it's not over yet. There's a lot of EPL left. There's a lot of time left. Early season, and let's just try and stay calm as much as we can, because what other choice do we have? We're Manchester United fans. We don't run. We love this club, and I ain't going nowhere.
Damn straight. If you like the American Red Devils podcast and you want to support us, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. AmericanRedDevils.store. Buy some merch, support the podcast, AmericanRedDevils.com. Appreciate everyone hanging in there on the vacation remote pods, double remote. So we're going to do the best. You got the downloads in front of you, sir? Do you have the downloads?
I don't have the login on my travel computer. But this guy. Appreciate all the American Devils.
You got to talk to the IT department. You got to talk to the IT department.
Let me call them up. Hey, John from the American Red Devils, you there? It's us, you and me, around the world, baby. Jersey, Malibu. Let's go, sir. I hope you're having a great time in the fam.
But you said it. You said it. Never give up on this team. I'll never give up on this team.
Ever, bro. This club is a part of my family. This club means everything to me. I will never run away from this team. But that's why I get so emotionally involved. That's why I get upset with news like this week. It's been a tough week for Manchester United, not even just on the pitch. So
We've been saying it for years. Darkest before the dawn, sir. It just keeps getting darker. We just need to know.
I haven't seen light in a minute.
I was like, please don't tell me the EFL Cup's going to be the only one for the next 5. Jesus Christ.
Europa League, bro. What I call fourth place in the Europa League.
How dare you? All right, look, that's it. That's the podcast. Like I said, sir, have a great vacation. We'll be back next week. Nottingham Forest at home, must win. And we're going to leave you with glory, Man United. Let's get back to our roots, sir.